I said on my show 2 weeks ago that Trump had never been more popular than he was at that moment, guys, and he just one-upped himself once again. He is now more popular than he has ever been, and the polls that show this aren't even right-wing polls. There's some right-wing polls that came out this week that are very good for Donald Trump, but the best polls that came out for Donald Trump were left-wing polls. And these polls are coming from CBS, and you have to see them. They're a little bit different. One is just a standard approval rating one, which I'll show at the beginning. Then I'll show you some more specific things that I think tell us some even more fascinating things about the Trump team and the way America is looking at MAGA. So first off, you can see right here on the screen with the CBS poll, President Trump's approval is 53%, which is a net 6%. And one of the unique things about Donald Trump is that these numbers add up to 100. Generally, they don't add up to 100 in approval rating polls because there's a percentage of people who just don't really know who the person is. But with Donald Trump, everyone knows who he is. And so the fact that he is a 53% is very good. Like, you might look at this and you might be like, well, 53 is not that high. It's very high. Joe Biden was like more than 15% lower than this. Even at his high, Joe Biden was never this good. And then, of course, you can see at the bottom of this, it says the highest approval rating for President Trump in CBS polling history. And they even put the demographics out there, which if you look, the older people are actually the boomers who don't like Donald Trump as much, and then the millennials not as much either. But the big generations for Donald Trump are Gen X and Gen Z, which is so awesome. I'm obviously a member of Gen Z. I'll talk about them a little bit later, but it's fantastic that you're seeing a plus 10 approval for Donald Trump. It spells very good things for the country. Now they get a little bit more specific in their polling, and this is where it gets really interesting because we learn a little bit more about how Americans are actually feeling specifically about what Donald Trump is doing. This is the CBS poll. They say, do you approve or disapprove of the Trump administration's program to find and deport immigrants who are in the U.S. illegally? Guys, 59% approval rating. 59. That is, as I said, 53. Very good. 59% is incredibly high. The next poll. Whether you support him or not, compared to what he promised in 2024, do you feel Donald Trump so far is doing ... what he promised in the campaign, what he different than what he promised? And what you're seeing is that 70% of the people polled said that he is doing what he promised. And that is not something that I think anyone could have said about George Bush, Bill Clinton, President Obama, President Biden. None of those people, I think, have ever had anything close to these numbers. And so I think that is part of what is driving Trump's approval rating. It's kind of it's twofold, really. People voted for his agenda, so obviously they wanted it. But even those who didn't vote for him respect the fact that he's actually doing what he said he would do. And they're finding, oh, even though I didn't think I wanted this, I actually kind of do. I think that's what you're seeing in a lot of these polls. This is kind of the last poll that I think is really interesting. It's a poll of Gen Zers, and it says percentage of 18 to 29-year-olds who describe President Trump as, and it's got tough, 71%, energetic, 65%, effective, 63%, 62% focused, 58% said competent, 35% said compassionate. I think that's very accurate. And frankly, when you look at who is going to be your commander-in-chief, I cannot think of better adjectives to use than tough, energetic, effective, focused, competent. That is what I want. And the fact, again, his numbers are in the 70s and 60s for Gen Z, that is really good news for the MAGA movement. So basically, right now, there are two massive lies that you cannot buy into that Democrats are trying to throw around. And I see it everywhere, from the mainstream media to alternative media here on YouTube or on X as well. The first lie is that Gen Z is trending liberal. This is not true. It's not. We're not. I promise you guys. I promise. I talked to my friends. We're all Gen Zers. We're not, and I really am not in the echo chamber that some might suppose I am. I have many liberal friends. Those liberal friends are trending more conservative. They are seeing what Donald Trump is doing, and they understand why it has to happen. My generation is more conservative than the millennials by every single metric. And so that's one lie. And that spells, again, very good things for the MAGA movement because we're not going anywhere. We're just going to keep getting older. The boomers, who in the first poll supported Trump 50-50, which by the way is still pretty good approval rating, they unfortunately, God bless them, won't be around for forever. And they're the people who don't like Donald Trump a little bit as much. And so that's not bad for Trump or the MAGA movement as it's going to continue after him. Gen Z, on the other hand, is going to stick around. And so you're going to see MAGA grow even stronger, I believe, depending on the successor that Donald Trump has. The second lie is that people are not liking Trump's agenda. You've heard this a lot. People are talking about how, Republicans regret voting for Donald Trump. They are certainly not regretting it. They do like Trump's agenda. Because of the polling I just showed you, it proves it. He's doing exactly what he said he would do. And this is what I think is really interesting about the CBS poll. I would say the most controversial policy that he's had so far is the mass deportations. And part of the reason why is because it's kind of personal to a lot of people. I mean, all of us probably know illegal immigrants. All of us probably have illegal immigrants that we love. Yet, at the same time, most people understand you came into the country illegally, therefore we have every right to deport you. And so again, I think that's the most controversial policy. I'm a big fan of it, but for Gen Z to like it so much, I think is really, really good for Donald Trump. The approval of that is very good, as I showed you. So again, don't buy into the lie that the left is trying to sell, that people regret their choice of voting for Trump. There is no data to support that. By the way, if Trump continues at this rate, either Ron DeSantis, I truly believe this, either Ron DeSantis or J.D. Vance, whoever wins the Republican primary, will be the next president of the United States in 2028. Guys, taxes suck, but fortunately I am partnering with a company that hates the IRS as much as you do because they get you your best return possible, and that is Quick Tax America. Quick Tax America is a non-woke company that does all federal tax returns for only $69. It's a completely transparent price because it is their only price, no matter how complicated your taxes are. They also do all the work for you. It's not like other online softwares or websites where you're spending 4 or 5 hours. All you have to do is upload your files, answer a few basic questions, and then you schedule a 15-minute finish your return call with a tax professional, and they do all the rest. So go check them out at quicktaxamerica.com when you get those tax documents, or you can go to the link in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and watch another video.